Hi there, Tucsondog here. I'm decided to try a new type of GoPro mount, at least for my helmet. A lot of people gave me some really good feedback after my very first video. Some of the feedback that I got said that I should try doing a chin mount on the helmet itself. Unfortunately, the helmet that I have, which is a Scorpion XO 1100, doesn't really have very good mounting points for a GoPro camera without doing some pretty fancy work with some 3M adhesive and that sort of thing. So I was able to mount it on the chin, but I had to rotate the attachment piece about 45 degrees to one side. So it ended up that the camera mounted at a 90-degree pivot. I have to do a 90-degree post edit, so we'll see what the quality looks like with that. As for the microphone, a lot of people said that I should try slipping the microphone in between the shell and the cheek pad. So I took off the little butterfly clip thing that was attached to the original mount of the microphone, and I've slipped it just in between the front right cheek pad and the shell. So we'll see how that goes. I did leave the little foamy thing on there to try and block some of the breath noise or any of the wind coming in the vents that are right there. I was able to get it so that it's not quite on the vent, but we'll see how well it works post-editing. So this would be a nice little test of wind noise. Right now in my ears the wind noise is pretty substantial, so whether or not it transfers over to the microphone, I guess this will be a nice little test. And as for vibration, I guess at around this speed it should be interesting to see just how wiggly and how wobbly the video gets. I don't think it should be too bad. I don't have a lot of really long mounts on there, so shouldn't be a ton of vibration. But again, it'll be neat to see. This is kind of a learning process for me, and as much as I don't want to keep posting everywhere saying, hey, watch this video, I really do appreciate the feedback. I am a YouTube partner, so I mean there might be some ads that pop up on the videos. I just have that enabled by default. For the first couple weeks though, I am going to disable those just because, I'm looking for feedback. I'm not trying to make any money off this. This is just more of a hobby and for fun kind of thing. With my degree program, I do a lot of work with kind of print advertising, that sort of thing. And I never really had the opportunity back in grade school to take video editing classes, so I'm kind of behind as far as where my skill level, where I'd like it to be with video editing compared to where it is for photo editing or like ad design, that sort of thing. So, once again, like I said, I really appreciate all the feedback that everyone has given me. I know several people on the 403 Riders kind of network there said that they wouldn't mind doing a dual vlog, which would be awesome. I do have a scalar rider, so I'll probably look at getting a splitter so that you can hear what the other person is saying. I know one member in particular has a really neat setup. They've got several microphones throughout their helmets, so not only can you hear what they're saying, but you can also hear what the person that he's talking to is saying as well. So I mean, that's really cool. Maybe somewhere down the road to look at doing something similar to that. For now though, I just got the single microphone. It came with a one of those El Cheapo GoPro audio mounts. It was like $3 or $4 off of Amazon. So I mean, I don't expect great things out of it, but from what I've heard, other than the wind noise, the audio quality was pretty good. Nowhere near professional levels, but for $3, who's complaining? So a few people have asked me to post, a video or some information about kind of the modifications that I've done to the bike. One of the ones that I know that you can see right away is the double level windscreen. It's got about an 80% tint on it. For whatever reason, I really like the color black. I know I'll probably get some flack for that because that black is technically a shade, but it's probably one of my favorite colors. 90% of my wardrobe is black. A lot of my clothing, a lot of my decor is black. No, I'm not goth. I'm not into that sort of thing. But for work a lot, I had to wear black, and I ended up acquiring a lot more black articles of clothing, black boots, tactical pants, black undershirts, I mean, you name it, black coat, black gloves, black hat. And when my dad, helped me get some gear, naturally the gear that I wanted was black, and when he sold me the bike, well, look at that, it's black. So I did end up ordering actually an anodized black bolt kit. I haven't put that on yet, but I have a feeling it'll look really good once it's all done. Like I said, the windscreen is also blacked out. A couple other things that I've done to the bike, I've added on some Oxford heated grips. And you can kind of see it. I went with the more sport touring style of grip. Maybe even the off-road, I can't remember exactly which it was. I was looking both when I bought them. But I find that they're a little bit larger than the stock grips, so you don't have to wrap your hand as far around when you're riding. It's just a little bit nicer. You can ride longer without getting wrist cramps. It's easier on the fingers, and it also helps absorb a little bit more shock because they are a few millimeters thicker. Another thing that I did was I put, again, blacked out levers on. So I picked up a set of adjustable Chinese knockoff ones, whatever, from eBay. I think they were about 30 bucks, including shipping. I've had them on there for about a year and a half, and honestly, I have no complaints. Actually, that's not true. I do have one complaint. I mean, they do wiggle a little bit up and down, but there's not as a ton of play, maybe about 3 or 4 millimeters. It's still within tolerance. Everything fits in quite snugly. They just kind of wiggle a little bit on the one side, and the other one wiggles a little bit. The brake lever wiggles a bit, but not too bad. What else have I done? I added a garage door opener, so if I'm on my way home, I can, instead of having to stop, get the opener out of the case, open the door, go back, start and everything, I can just reach over and press the button. One of the previous owners of the bike added in the GPS mount on the side. I've since converted it for a GoPro. I've also got some Velcro on the other side if I wanted to put a cell phone on there, or if I wanted to put anything else like that. But I really, really like having the GoPro mount there. It doesn't work as well with the tinted windscreen, but on the clear one, the stock one, you're actually able to see through the front end. So that was kind of cool to have that kind of first-person view of the bike. The only thing is that because it's connected to the handlebars, when you go to make a sharp turn, that sort of thing, the camera would move. So it'd be, I think I like it better on the helmet, but I'm definitely going to try, to get another GoPro in the next year or two. And that way I can have multiple angles. Actually, I've added GoPro mount to the top case so that you can get kind of a behind-the-scenes view. I use it, very early in the season when I'm going around doing practice, lots of slow-speed practice, so I can see my body position, head position. If I'm doing a full lock turn, is my head looking the right direction? Have I got my body position right? Am I counter leaning? Am I properly steering? That sort of thing. And then I can also monitor, hand position, where are my hands, are my elbows tucked in, or do I look like a chicken flapping my arms around? Speaking of, other modifications, I have put a top case and side case on this. Both of them are from GV. The top case is the V47 top case, and then the side cases are the V35. I've had them for about 2 years now, and honestly I can't say enough good things about them. I use them a lot for commuting to and from school or to and from work. If I've got my duffel bag or that sort of thing, I can just tuck it either inside the case itself, the top case itself, or I can just tuck it on the rear seat and I can strap it using bungees or straps to the actual back of the top case. I was able to source my side cases from Italy, shipped to Canada from Italy. They were $550. That included duty, shipping, fees, like everything. Good luck trying to find that here. It only took 2 months to get here, but I think it was worth it. The top case I picked up from GW when they had kind of a 403 exclusive sale. I was able to go there. They had some really good markdowns, and I think this was one of their older model ones. So I picked that up for a really, really good price. And then I found on eBay, once again, I think from Italy, no, from Florida. I was able to source the top case mounting system and then the top plate as well. So definitely, you know, if you're looking for parts and you're on a budget, check out eBay. You can find some really good finds. Even if you have to wait for a little bit, it's worth it if you can save some cash, especially if you're a student trying to pay tuition or pay for textbooks, that sort of thing. A couple of other modifications I've done to the bike. I modified the exhaust system. Now, it's kind of funny. Under the Highway Traffic Safety Act in Alberta, you're not allowed to change the opening of the exhaust, so the exhaust outlet, in order to make more noise. So, you know, in full compliance, I wanted to change the tone of the exhaust, but not necessarily the volume, because I know a lot of people that like to have it a little bit louder. But if you can get a particular tone, the human ear will actually amplify certain tones so they're easier to hear. So one of those tones, or I don't remember the exact hertz number, is about the same as a straight pipe V8. Now, a straight pipe V8 sounds amazing, but it'll also make your ears bleed. Now, the cool thing about this bike is it is a V4. So the best way to think about that is take, you know, a small block Chevy V8 and cut the outer 4 cylinders off, and what's left, so the 4 inside, is basically what they put inside this bike. It sounds amazing once you get it up over a 7,000 RPM. That's where the secondary valve system will open up. It'll also advance the timing a little bit, so you get more top-end power and a bit more top-end torque. Really, really cool system. Really expensive if you have to do a valve adjustment, but it works great. I have had no issues so far. Anyways, I digress. The exhaust. So I cut the end caps off the exhaust, pulled out the inside baffles, and when I pulled them out, what I found was there was a triple baffle system. So the exhaust would go all the way in from kind of the exhaust inlet all the way to the end, bounce off of a metal plate, go back through another pipe into kind of a central baffle, and then it would go back through a pipe and out the tips. Well, that's a lot of kind of wasted time for trying to get the exhaust out. I mean, it's just kind of spending time in there. Yeah, it reduces noise a little bit. I mean, but you're not on the top end. I mean, you're not gonna get that exhaust, that higher exhaust flow, and it sounds like a sewing machine, honestly, when you're trying to run it. So what I did is I looked up a bunch of ways. A lot of people just pulled the baffles out and they welded the end caps back on, or they just left the end caps on completely. But with the Highway Traffic Safety Act, you're not allowed to do that because it changes the exhaust outlet opening. So what I did was I sourced a 48-inch length of stainless steel perforated tubing. And what I did is I cut that into 4 different lengths, and I slipped it inside the exhaust, kind of where the end cap attaches on, and then you reused one of the kind of the very first part of the original stock baffle. Cut some holes in it, did some other some little grinding and some other work to make it all fit, and essentially I have 4 straight pipes inside the exhaust cans with the stock exhaust tips on the outside. Now, what it did is it just changed the exhaust tone, not the decibel level, so still fully within within the law, and it sounds so much better. I've also noticed that I get about an extra 30 to 40 kilometers per tank. I mean, I don't ride super hard, but I definitely get a little bit further distance per each tank after doing that. This bike specifically, there's a few other mods that you can do to the stock emissions control system. It's called a flapper and a pair valve mod. So with that pair valve and the flapper and the snorkel mod, basically there's a little rubber snorkel that's designed to help keep water out, and it also kind of restricts a little bit of airflow. So if you pull it out, you get more of a, I don't know, it's been described as a whooshing sound. That's the best way to describe it. Or similar to the sound of like a CF-18 after it's flown by for a while. You get kind of that crackly sound when it sounds kind of good. So, I mean, I've done that mod. I also disabled the vacuum mod on, it's called a little flapper thing. I don't remember exactly what it's called. And basically, the purpose of that part is to restrict airflow at lower RPMs to improve emissions. Well, improving emissions means you usually reduce efficiency because it'll cause your bike to run a little bit leaner. So in this case, I disabled that, and after readjusting the idle and going back and making sure everything was tuned properly, I mean the bike just kind of wakes up. It feels a little bit quicker on the acceleration, better throttle response. This particular line of bike has been known for a snatchy throttle. So if you're in first gear and you're trying to go through a parking lot at, anywhere from 0 to 5k an hour, and you need to roll on and off the throttle a little bit, the bike will actually start to buck and jump, and in some cases one of your wheels will come up off the ground, your suspension goes all wonky, and it's really, really, really difficult to try and control at low speeds. But after doing the exhaust modification and those modifications to the airbox, I have had absolutely no issue with slow speed riding at all. I mean, I can ride almost to a dead stop, and I can modulate the throttle a little bit even though I'm using the clutch, and I have no issues whatsoever. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I'll flip my visor up. But that's the sound, second gear, just before 6,000. Hang on, I'll bring it up a little bit. Does that not sound good or what? Like, it sounds identical to a straight pipe V8. Love that sound. Love it, love it, love it. At this point in time, I can't really think of any other modifications that I've done to the bike offhand. I know I have to do some electrical work later on. Oh, that's another thing. So one of the other modifications that I have done to the bike is for Christmas, the girlfriend and her family got me LED kits for my side case and top case luggage, which is awesome. Much better visibility, having that many, having a brake light or a signal light that high up makes it easier for traffic to see you. Especially in Alberta, we've got a lot of big trucks, a lot of lifted trucks. You got semis, that sort of thing, and with the lights up a little bit higher and those super bright LEDs, I feel much safer riding at night. And because of my line of work and kind of oftentimes late classes at school, I'm riding in the dark, or I'm riding at nighttime or dusk. So to have that extra visibility is really, really nice. I mean, and if anything were to happen, and someone said, "Oh, I didn't see the lights," please explain to me how you miss 6 brake lights lighting up in front of you, 4 of which are extremely bright LEDs. I mean, there's no way you can do it without, without making yourself look dumb. So thankfully I haven't had to go through that yet, and I hope I never will, but if I ever do, I know that those LEDs are probably going to save my butt one day. That being said, if you do have a top case or side cases on your bike, I would highly recommend getting some LED kits. For me, I have the red and amber integrated ones. So one, it goes kind of red, amber, red, amber, red, amber, and on on braking or just on kind of ignition power on. Sorry about that. Yeah, so and as soon as you turn the key on, those lights will light up. And so, I mean, you have instant extra visibility. And the cool thing with the brake lights on the top case, I have to look up on the side case if it does it as well. but it's a modulated brake light. So when you hit the brakes, very similar to what you see on a fire truck or an ambulance, the red LEDs are going to flash, I believe it's 3 times, and then they'll go to a constant on. And if you're in stop and go traffic, there's a little, microcontroller processor thingy in there, and if you reapply the brakes within 15 seconds, it won't flash the LEDs. So it'll only go to a solid red. So if you're in stop and go traffic and I hit the brakes the first time, it'll go flash, 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 solid. And then say we move a couple cars ahead, hit the brakes again. Instead of going flash, 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 it just goes straight solid. I'd really love to get a video of that, but unfortunately I'll have to find someone to follow me. It's really cool to see. I let a buddy of mine take the bike out and I was able to see it. It looked really, really cool. So I think I'm going to call it a day. Once again, if you can continue to provide great feedback, I'm definitely still learning a lot, and I really appreciate any input that you guys have. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, and we'll keep you posted for our next video. Thanks!